I'm joined by Monsignor Robert Weiss, who's the pastor of St. Rose of Lima Church, although everybody calls you Father Bob, and Mike Capola, who has 3 kids at St. Rose of Lima School. You're also the facilities chair for the school as well. And you both were here the day of the shooting. In the last year, how have you managed to bring your parish community, through it all?
I think from the very beginning, we addressed the issue as it was, and very quickly people relied on their faith. And certainly for the majority of this community, which is very faith-based, people found great consolation and strength in their faith. And I remember clearly just being with those families in that firehouse that day, not one of them saying, why is God doing this? They clearly discerned this as evil. And that was a very important reality for all of us, that people could see clearly that God's hand was not in this, that this was an evil action that just destroyed the lives of so many innocent young people. And very quickly, kind of the mantra of our community became, darkness and evil visited us, but light has overcome it.
I know you had 8 children here that were parishioners here. And, I just think about those families every single day, that, as we're all carrying on with our lives, they have that incredible cross and pain.
Absolutely. And, some of them are back. Some of them, and I understand this, find it impossible to walk into this church. How do you walk down that aisle where your child was brought in? I mean, how do you do that? And, whatever the music is played, it just brings back those kinds of things. But nevertheless, all those families have their children back, and their siblings are back in religious education. They are very active, some of them in the parish. We've been in touch with the families. We're giving them the space that they need. They know that we're here for us. But their grief, of course, is just unimaginable. And they're dealing with it in very, very different ways. As you know, many of the families became very politicized very quickly. Some of them found consolation in that. Others have just become very quiet and almost disappeared in the community. So everybody's reacting very differently, and as time is going on, I believe it's becoming even more and more difficult for them, even though many of them have established foundations in honor of their children and putting their energies there. But it's still a very, very difficult and painful time for everybody. I remember every weekend for a while I was bringing out one of the gifts that we were given, and you could just see the emotion in the church. We were given a set of handbells, and people were coming up and almost afraid to touch them. Just the reverence for life has just become so important here. And, so that it elicits a lot of emotionality, a lot of emotion from everybody.
Well, Mike, you have a very special story to share that I had learned about and was so happy to hear it, although it didn't get a lot of media attention. Tell us about that. I know you were here the morning of December 14th.
We were here in church. Monsignor got the call.
Why were you here in church? It was daily mass for the students?
Mass.
It was Friday Mass for the students.
School Mass. And he came running in. He wasn't serving the Mass. And we had found out that there was a shooting. And he said it was serious. We're on lockdown. Stay in the church. I just didn't feel that I was going to do any good being in the church. I wanted to be outside. And I went outside. And everybody was on lockdown, the school, the church. We ran back, him and I had run back up to preschool. We had to make sure that they were okay. He came back into the church, and I stayed up there because I could kind of see at the top of the campus. And then I kept getting phone calls from friends of mine saying that there were shooters in the school behind us. And they were just getting misinformation. And I started getting worried. There were no cops here. They were going down to Sandy Hook. And I could just hear them keep passing here, and I didn't know what to do if somebody came out after our school or whatever, because now it started to, become so real to me. And I looked up and I saw the cross up in the sky, in the clouds.
Did you share this with other, media outlets? Was it something that had been talked about before, or?
We did, but we didn't see it out there like we thought it would be. It was shocking because I think for here it was comforting for a lot of people, and anyone that has seen the cross and saw the picture and they know that I took it, that it wasn't photoshopped or anything like that. I think it brought a big comfort to them, right?
Absolutely. Through this image of a cross, and you can read what you want into it, but I think all of us read into the fact that God is near to us. Initially I saw it as a sign of protection, but as time went on, we had a visionary here from Medjugorje who spoke, and I was listening to him speak. I realized that there was also a burden that had been laid on this community to continue to witness to faith. A cross was laid on the shoulders of this town, and what were we going to do with that? Were we going to just let it hang there, or were we going to do like Jesus did? He died on the cross, but then he rose.
When you had come to our church, you mentioned, when is this going to stop? And I remember thinking very clearly in my head, uh-oh, he's winding up. It's going to be a big political speech, just because I thought, where's he going with this? Not that I didn't trust you, but your response was just so incredible. Do you remember what you said?
Sure. Well, to me, I was getting to the point where I didn't know what was safe for people anymore. That's really what was getting to me, that where is safe for people? Home invasions and now a school tragedy. Churches. There was just a minister killed recently in a church. What is safe for people? And you get to that point of almost, kind of despairing, like, where is all this taking it? But I have to see this as a really pro-life message, that we need to embrace life. And all of this legislation, all of these laws, until we all change our hearts and get back to a basic respect for human dignity, it is not going to stop.
What do you want people to do a year later for you? What can we do as Catholics at home who are watching this?
Let's just get back to what we're supposed to be. Our community and honoring the first anniversary is not going to have a town-wide observance. We're asking people to do kindnesses within their own community in the name of these victims. Let's get back to where we live, and let's make a difference where we live. And whether it's here in Newtown or whether it's in Southbury or anywhere in this world, let's get back to what God called us to be. I realize that we've had a lot of issues in our church, and it has driven many, many people away. But even our new bishop is saying, let's just go one by one. Let's reach out to one person at a time and take their hand and bring them back.
Father Bob, thank you so much for joining us, Monsignor Weiss and Mike Capola, and sharing all of that with us. And we're going to be praying for you. God bless you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.